welcome to this edition of Kevin's Garage, my ongoing journey as a complete car building novice to build a Factory 5 Roadster. So what are we doing this week? Well, last week, if you remember, we installed the engine. So this week it's all about giving the engine some electrical power. So we're going to be talking about the battery, where to put it, and I've decided to use a battery box. So when I attended the Factory 5 build school, or car camp as it's lovingly called, we were introduced to this company called FF Metals. You can find them at ffmetals.com, and they produce a number of great products, one of which is the battery box specifically designed for the Factory 5 Roadster. So I thought, yes, that's what I want. So I ordered the kit, and this is what you get in the kit. Clearly, the first thing is you get the box. Then you get this nice solid 3/4 inch brace. You get all of the hardware that you will need. You get a nice set of clear instructions, also available on the website. And you get a cover. So it's very nice and very neat, and enables you to take the battery out of the upper trunk and put it like in that dead space underneath the trunk. So that's why I find it so attractive. That's what I'll be doing. What we'll also be talking about this week is then how do we connect everything up. So of course you've got the positive, the power wire, and also you've got the ground as well. So that's what we'll be doing. And also, if we've got a little bit of time at the end, maybe talk a little bit about battery selection. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. So without further ado, let's start making the box. Okay, so when you first get the box, it only comes with I think 4 rivets in the sides and just another 2 on the bottom. So this really gives you the opportunity that if you're going to powder coat the box, for example, or treat it specifically in any way, then obviously you can do that at this stage. I am going to put a treatment on it, but I can just spray that on at the end. So really it's just a matter of going through the process, just putting all the rivets back in, and or putting all the rivets in. Pretty straightforward. All the holes are pre-drilled, and a process we've done quite a bit by now. So just popped another couple in, and we'll just finish it off. Okay, so the next stage is to get the box roughly into position. So if you have a 3-link suspension like I do, then basically you fit the box more to the driver's side, and the instructions are pretty clear. And basically it's the sort of the last hole in the support arm is the edge. It's worth pointing out that the brackets on the support arm go underneath, and once you have it in position, and you really need to sort of build it here because it's a little bit awkward, just put a couple of clecos in the back and you'll find it pretty much like sort of sticks into position. Then what you have to do is to mark all of these holes, and I've just started to drill them here. So you mark those first with a silver Sharpie, then you mark underneath with a silver Sharpie as well, and we're going to drill those with a 1/4 inch drill in a moment. One thing you might find interesting here is if you do the drilling like I've been doing through here, is to get yourself one of these little sort of drill bits which enables you to fit in quite an awkward angle. Of course you can take this out as well, but it's just a matter of personal preference. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I've put a couple of clecos here. I'm going to drill all of this out, and then we'll come back and see what it looks like. Okay, so the battery box is in the car, so if I go immediately behind, you can see how it does fit slightly off to the driver's side on mine with the 3-link suspension, as we mentioned. So if we zoom in a little bit, you can see that all the rivets are now in. I did put a little silicone down between the 3/4 inch tube on the right here and on the left between the finishing bracket. So that's all good. You can see the I'll maybe go on this side. Oh, can you see that? Yeah. So on this side, you can see the screw that I've just put in goes all the way through. So I think we're in a good position now. So one thing I would mention is that I did leave all of my wires fairly loose. I'll take all of these temporary fittings off now. And next stage is to dry fit the upper trunk. Right, let's do that. Okay, so the trunk aluminum is dry fitted. So I'm comfortable it's in the right spot. I've just put a couple of clamps, 4 clamps around it to keep it as tight as possible. So now what I'm going to do with the Sharpie is reach down, and there's a hole, probably like a hand-sized hole at the bottom of the battery box. I've got to reach in and try as best as I can to trace the outside lines of the battery box, so I can cut an appropriate sized hole. All right, so let's have a look. Okay, so here's what it looks like when you do manage to get your hand into the hole and measure it out. So you can see it's a little wobbly at the sides, and you certainly can't get into all the corners, but that's okay, because what you're really looking for is if you can now take a square and you can literally put some decent lines together, you can actually get a pretty accurate representation of the box, which is what I'm doing now, and I'll measure it in a moment just to check. So you get the side like that, and then pretty good run that way. So you can see already it's looking pretty close, and then we just finish off the side here. Okay, so that's where we've ended up. So what I'll do now is I'll just measure that, and if we are looking pretty good, I'll go in and I'll cut it out. Okay, so we're pretty close now. So again, having it all clamped up really helps. I just need to tidy up these final couple of corners. So let's just get to it. Okay, so Kevin Cam has been activated. Let's have a quick look. So you can see that it looks pretty neat. So the battery box is installed, and now obviously we've got the hole cut out. We've got the cover to go on, just held on by 4 screws. So you can see that looks nice and neat. And I'm just holding down the aluminum at the moment with some clamps, because I've been marking underneath. So I don't know if this is going to work or not, because I've got one of these cameras that rotates around and tries to follow whatever I'm doing. So sometimes it doesn't actually point what I want it to point at. So I don't know if you can see that, but there should be some marks up there where I've been using a Sharpie to be able to outline where I need to drill the hole so I can rivet the top panel in place. Now I'm not going to do that now, but I will take the panel off. I will show you the marks, because and then we'll sort of summarize, because I can't fit this panel until I've fitted the next panel on the bottom, and I'm going to actually use that to install the drop trunk as well. All right, so that's it for now. Okay, so we've marked everything up now. So here is the base of the trunk. So you can see that I marked up where all of the parts of the chassis are when I need to drill the holes. So you can see I've got some across the top, the sides, etc. I've used the usual 2-inch spacing that I use for consistency, and then there's just 2 additional holes which need to be a little bit bigger, and these are for the bolts, which, if you remember, we actually used a little earlier on to secure the battery box, or the bracing for the battery box, to the chassis earlier on. Okay, so let me just start the process. Let's maybe get 1 or 2 holes drilled, and then we'll do the rest. Okay, so let's go to Kevin Cam and take a look to see how everything turned out. So you can see I've got the battery in the box. Just got to tighten up the top. I went with the Optima 34, so certainly seemed a good performance battery, and obviously fits perfectly. I've now attached the lead, so the ground I actually took and fastened underneath here, so I ground out the top and underneath and put a washer on both, so that's all sealed there. Then I took the power, and actually I had to sort of wrap it around under here a little. I'll just go and see if you can see that. Hopefully you can. So it's quite neat, but I've got plenty of slack if I need it. And I use these nice seals that just attach to the side of the frame wherever I could. Then in terms of the power, just again wrapped and sealed it, just followed it along here. I've left a little bit of room here for now, and I've not fitted it permanently because I've still got the emergency brake to go in, and I know the emergency brake comes down here somewhere, so I just want to make sure that that's fitted correctly before I permanently install this. And then if you go to the engine, actually it's round the other side, I'll just come over here. You can see this is where it comes out. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, so it's just there ready by the starter to connect up. So I think overall it went pretty well. I think it looks pretty neat now. What I'll do is I'll just now sort of dry fit the upper trunk so you can see that, but obviously I can't connect that fully until the lower trunk is done, so I'll show you once I've finished that as well. All right, back in a moment. Okay, so there you can see I've just dry fitted the upper trunk aluminum. I've actually drilled out all of the holes, so we're ready for fitting. You can see here that's the cover for the battery box, so it looks nice and neat. As I say, I'm just now waiting to fit the lower trunk, which obviously fits under here. One thing I did do, which wasn't in the manual, is I decided to put a little hole here for the license plate electrics to come through. I've got a little grommet for there as well. I did make a little bit of a mess up here, is that I misjudged where this hole was. So I'm just going to patch that with a very thin piece of aluminum to tidy that up from underneath, so you won't see that. But I think overall, I think it's the battery box is a good addition. All right, so there we have it. So that's it for this week's edition of Kevin's Garage. Next week we'll be going straight to finish off the lower trunk, and then I'll show you what the whole thing looks like. So hopefully you're still enjoying my ongoing journey to build my Factory 5 Roadster, and if you are, then please do the usual and like and subscribe. Thanks a lot, and as always, thanks for watching.